Hi, and welcome to Live with Connie. Today, my guest star is Michaela with Mx Crochet. And in a little while, I'll let her tell y'all more about herself and her channel. And for those that are here, please leave a comment in the chat so we know you're here. And for those that will be watching on replay, leave a comment to let us know that you watched the replay. And feel free to answer any questions that we ask in today's live. So, how are you doing today, Michaela?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's actually been a busy day today. So it's kind of the end of the day, so I'm tired. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it's kind of funny the time difference.
Yeah, it's actually 6 hours. When I first looked it up when we talked about it, it was only five, but I forgot in the States, your clock goes back a week later than ours.
Yeah, we just time
So there
change.
was like a window when we were 5 hours apart, but now we're six. So when I realized that today, I was like, oh no, I have to wait another hour.
And it's so funny because it's like I know, like in my head, I'm thinking it's the same time where you're at, and you're probably thinking the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, big time difference. And let's see, we have Samantha, Spring, and Lauren here. How are y'all doing today? And what are y'all currently working on? I've been working on my peppermints for my peppermint blanket.
Ooh.
And I don't know, I'm like, I'm looking at that pattern. I'm like, gee, I feel like I have so much left to do. And I'm getting it done so slowly.
Mm. It's
I'm
always like
hoping,
that whenever you do anything like a blanket, especially.
I
Like
hope
you're
I
like,
can
oh,
get,
this is an easy, quick stitch. It will work up in no time. And then it's like 6 months later,
and the
not even halfway.
thing with this blanket is that just learning what you had to do to make the peppermints, it took me a while to figure
Mm,
it out because
yeah.
I don't know. I had trouble seeing what he was doing in the tutorials initially, and
Oh, yeah.
then like I work on different projects during the week based on what days it is. So I'll get away from it for a week, and then I got to refresh my memory how to make the peppermint. And this last time, it was like longer than usual that I was away from it.
Mm.
So it was like, oh, I got to remember now. Now I can do it without having to go back to the tutorial. But now next week I may forget. And let's see.
I have
Lauren
to put my glasses on to read the chat.
Lauren says she's working on her Big Bang Theory inspired blanket.
Oh,
Oh,
that's
nice.
cool.
Yeah, you have me curious what that's gonna look like.
Yeah, me too.
And we got Miguel here. Hi, Miguel. How are you doing today? And what are you working on other than errands? Spring says she was working on a nap, but now coffee. Yeah. Oh, yesterday I took a nap yesterday. When I woke up, I'm like, I could go back to sleep.
Yeah, I took a nap yesterday and then I was up till 2 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. Oh, because me and Frank took a nap together, and he had trouble falling asleep last night. He was up till 1. I fell asleep. Normally it's the opposite though. Normally he falls asleep quickly, and I'm like, taking forever to fall asleep.
Yeah, my husband goes to sleep like immediately. If he gets in bed, like just lays down, he will fall asleep, no matter what
Mhm.
time of day it is. It doesn't matter. And I can't do that. Like I have to be really tired. And sometimes I'll be exhausted, like, you feel like I'm just going to fall asleep any second. But I'll lay there and I'm not even thinking about anything. It's not like I'm anxious about anything or worried about anything. But I don't know. It's like I kind of, I go down, I go down, I go down, and then I just pop right back up. I hate that
Yeah,
so
like
much.
I my mind wanders too much. I'm thinking of
Mm,
everything, and
yeah.
it's like I need to stop thinking, and I have trouble doing that.
But sometimes it's such random stuff. Like it shouldn't be stuff that keeps you awake. It should be the kind of stuff that to kind of help you drift off. Like you're just thinking about like a TV show you watched or a book you read or somebody you saw on a bus or, just things that don't create like emotional issues to make you stay awake. But yeah, my brain is like that too. It's full of just junk all the time.
Because I know, like whenever I was a kid, like first day of school, I always had trouble sleeping. I was so excited, and it was like my mind just wandered. And let's see, Spring saying that yes, I have to be exhausted also, and the hubby is out.
Yeah, I don't know how he does it. He's always been like that, and I've always been like this. Um, yeah, I definitely have a mind that wanders a lot. I'm a daydreamer. Um, yeah. Have you ever done the MBTI test?
The MB, what was that?
TI, Myers-Briggs type indicator. It's like a personality preference test. It's like something I'm interested in, so I'd be curious to see, like, uh, if we had similar types, because it sounds like we might.
Let's see, Brenda's here. Hi, Brenda. How are you doing today? And what are you currently working on? And Jessica's here too. Same questions. So I'm going to go ahead and let Michaela tell y'all more about her channel and herself and what she's working on and all that. And I'm actually doing it early in the live today. So go ahead, Michaela.
Hi. So I'm Michaela from Mx Crochet. Even though I don't sound like it, I live in the UK. I live in South London. I'm originally from New York, so New York City. Um, and I've lived in Britain for uh, 18 years, I want to say, I think, about 18, 19 years. So a long time. I'm a citizen. See my channel. I started my channel last year after I lost my job.
Oh,
Um, and I did that thing everybody tells you to do, turn your hobby into, your business or your side hustle, whatever you want to call it. So I started doing YouTube. I wanted to do tutorials and yarn content because I love me some yarn, like I think most of us. Um, and I don't have any friends who crochet or are obsessed with yarn. I have one friend who's a knitter and she's not obsessed with yarn. So I thought, YouTube be a way to kind of fulfill those needs. And yeah, and I've just been kind of working. I took a big break for several months on my channel, so I've just kind of come back recently. Um, just a lot of stuff happened last year. Um, so yeah. I don't know what else to tell you guys. Like, do you guys have any questions about me? Like, do you want to know?
yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
I'm
if
an open book.
y'all have questions for either Michaela or me, just feel free to ask anytime in the chat.
In terms of stuff I'm working on, I forgot to bring it. It's in the other room, but I just did uh, a new type of chevron. I mean, I don't know if it's new. It's not the way I've ever done it before, but it's a way to do like a chevron cable. Um, and I made a scarf out of it, and I've got a video on my channel. I just put that up, and then I'll be
Ooh.
selling the scarves on my website pretty soon. So that's been my biggest kind of whip at the moment. I always have 100 things in progress. So, I feel disingenuous saying like, oh, this is my whip and this is my whip because really everything is a whip at this point. I have so many unfinished projects. It's not even funny. One thing I had an idea to start doing is for the last couple of years I actually watch tutorials in Japanese and Korean, and uh, from Brazil as well, in Portuguese. So I've been thinking of doing a series on like, can I make this without any English? So is crochet a universal enough language? Because I know both US and UK terms. Can I figure out what they're doing in the tutorial and make it myself? So that's kind of my like new project at the moment.
See, I wish the terms would be the same.
Yeah, I've never figured out why we have different terms over here. Like I've tried to look up the history of it, but I if somebody can tell me, I'd love to know because nobody seems to know why there's two different sets of terms.
Because I know whenever I had done that tutorial by Allison Russell, and I'm listening and I'm thinking, US terms, and then all of a sudden I realize she's not doing US terms. And
No.
at some point she would say the US term, but it kind of was confusing. So I kind of, I basically had to look up to make sure I was getting the right stitches done for what she was saying. But
Yeah.
I found that was confusing.
That's what, in my videos I tend to say both. Sometimes I trip up between them, and it can make a video longer, but as I go I try and say this is a US double, which is a UK treble, so that anyone can follow along. Yeah, just because I learned to crochet in US terms just because I taught myself. So I just went online and found tutorials, and they just happened to all be in US. And then I quickly discovered that there were UK terms. So I taught myself those terms. And it's actually like not that hard. Once you have like a guide, and if you can, like just memorize that a double is a treble, a single is a double. Like basically in the UK, it just goes up one number. Um,
You would think it would be the same.
yeah, I don't like it. From what I can figure out just by looking at the way you make a stitch, it probably has something to do with how many times you yarn over. Um, so in the UK, we're counting like the yarn overs this way, and in the US, you're counting maybe not the yarn overs, but like how many times um, you need to do something to make the stitch, if that makes sense. Like they're just counting different parts of the stitch. Um, it would be good if maybe the world could get together and just decide like we're going to use these or we're going to use these and just get rid of one or the other. I think that would have to be the UK terms because I think most countries use the US terms from what I can tell.
But we could even say that with the languages that we speak, Why can't we
Mm.
all just speak the same language? You know
Oh,
what?
don't say that to the British.
Well, I'm not
You
saying
will
which
get
language it
lecture.
should be. I'm just
Yeah,
saying that it would be nice if there was just one language that everybody spoke. It would make
yeah,
things easier.
yeah,
Let's see, we
yeah.
have
It would.
Mama G.
I mean, that's what happens in science fiction, isn't it? There's always like a universal language that everybody speaks. Um, yeah, or at least a universal translator, like something you just put in your ear, like an AirPod, and you could just understand everyone immediately.
We
But
also
then
have
I sorry, go ahead.
we have Mama G here. Hi, Mama G. How are you doing today? And let's see. Oh, Christina's here too. Hi, Christina. How are you? And what are y'all working on? And let's see. Brenda says she's doing well, working on Christmas ornaments still. Awesome. see. Everyone's saying hello. Yeah, Lauren even says she don't like the UK terminology and she's in the UK.
I don't really have a preference, to be honest, as long as I know what the pattern is written in. My issue always comes when like I get a pattern and they haven't bothered to state anywhere on the pattern, and you kind of have to figure it out. I mean, there are kind of quick ways that you can tell, but you know, the more complicated a pattern, the like when the more complicated stitches, like if it doesn't use any base stitches, then it might be a little bit harder to tell.
And she's saying that there are so many more US terminology patterns.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what I
Jessica.
mean, because there's so many US patterns just floating around like all over the internet, all over YouTube. Um, you know, if they don't say like this is a US pattern, you might not realize.
And Jessica already has to go. I hope you have a good
Oh,
day,
hi.
Jessica. Mama G says also metric and standard. The U.S. needs to go metric, and that was another thing that I was gonna bring up. Yeah, like how we do our measurements. That's why like we're clueless. Like
Yeah.
we have a hard time with converting to metric because we don't use it enough.
I mean, like I said, I've lived here for 18 years and I still find it difficult because I grew up with the US system. Um, so I don't have like a visualization in my head for a lot of like for milliliters or liters or um, like I still think in like cups or pounds. So I often have to convert stuff, like go online and convert it. Luckily, I have a scale that does both. So when I'm cooking or baking, makes it easier. I also have measuring cups that have both. Um, yeah, but like when it comes to meters and yards, like in yarn, I can visualize how much a yard is, but it's hard for me. I always talk in meters on my channel, but yeah, I still have to think about like it's really helpful to me when they put both on the label because then I really like understand how much yarn I have. The same thing with like miles and kilometers. Like I cannot do like I can't think in kilometers. I can think in miles. And that's a problem when you grow up with something so embedded, like it can be hard to switch.
Hmm. And let's see. Christina says lunch break editing videos and pick and mix crochet along. Ooh, nice. Yeah, and even Lauren saying how single crochet automatically American terminology, but
Yeah.
in if they go in with a double.
Yeah, if they start with a double and there's no singles anywhere in the pattern, you don't know. You're kind of screwed because you'll just assume. And that's happened to me. I've made things with a US double crochet, and it turned out to be a UK pattern. I couldn't figure out why is this not working out, and then kind of looked into it further and found out, oh, it's the UK pattern. That explains it.
And Brenda's wanting to know what's your favorite thing to make?
Uh, I'm kind of a hat gal. I make hats. I like hats. Yeah, you can see there's a hat right there. Um, yeah, I do make a lot of hats, and now that it's more cold, I like to make scarves. Um, there's a lot of things I like the look of, but I hate how much time it takes to make them, like throws and blankets and larger garment. Like I actually have quite a few like sweater and cardigan patterns that I want to do. Um, but the time it takes, especially because like I'm larger, so like I need a large size. And then you have to spend a lot of time working out the math for all the different sizes if you're gonna like release it. Um, yeah. So because I'm easily distracted by ideas and, yarn and things and what other people are doing and looking at stuff online all the time. I like to stick to smaller stuff. I don't do like amigurumi or anything like that, but I do stick to kind of smaller things as much as possible. Otherwise, I just overwhelm myself and then I don't do anything.
For me, it's shawls and then hats. And let's see, Debbie Reynolds is here. Hi, Debbie. How are you doing today? And Lauren saying it's a new pattern when you do that. Okay. Oh, one thing I want to bring up to y'all. Some of y'all know that my cat Sophie, snuck out last week. And Frank found her Saturday. She was playing in the ditch. He caught her, brought her back inside. So she's safe and sound now. But yeah, not happy that she went outside.
That must have been like kind of frightening. I live in an apartment, so our cat can't get out. So, but yeah, if he went outside, I'd be freaking.
Because like Frank was going, he opened the door to go outside, and she just, whoop. And it was like, oh no. And let's see, Lauren saying, I'm not sat here. I'm not sat here with 3 large blankets on the go. Not at all.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, with all my blankets going on, I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to get them finished, because it's like it's starting to feel overwhelming.
Yeah.
With my blankets, and it's like I know last year I was wanting to, next year I'm wanting to do my first Afghan, but I don't know. I'm thinking about holding off till either later the year, possibly, or the following year to do my Afghan, because I just kind of feel like I've been overwhelmed with the blankets, and I want to get the ones done that I'm working on, and then have time to kind of make what I want to make, or like join in on like a crochet along or something.
Yeah, I would say definitely leave something like that big till you cleared some other stuff. Because I don't know, what happens to me is like I'll start something like that, and because I have lots of little things laying around, I'll start thinking about them. Be like, oh, I really should finish that. I really should finish that this season. I really need that for this season, kind of thing. But I'm really terrible at keeping. I don't know how people do it. I follow so many people on Instagram who are so seasonal. They get out like all their fall stuff starting in like August and September, and they're always spot on, like just in time. And me, I'm like, oh, it's November. I guess I should start doing like scarves and like more like warm, cozy things. Like it's not that I don't think about it. I just don't feel like doing it when it's not that weather. Yeah, like people were making pumpkins in August, and I was kind of like, what?
But you have to start it early. You really do.
I know, and I just don't like that. I really don't. Like, I'm rebelling. I don't want to. Yeah. So I have to find other ways to be seasonal without having to do stuff too early. And yeah.
Hey, I always want to rebel against the time change.
Yeah.
I'm always like, why do we have to change time when we're just going to change it back later in the year? Let's just keep it the same year long. It'd be easier.
There are still a few places in the world who don't change their times, I think. Very few, though. Yeah. I don't mind this time of year, the time change, because we gain an hour, obviously.
Yeah.
Which helps. So, like, Britain is much higher. It's higher up. So than like where America is. So the daylight is a lot shorter. So it's really dark in the morning when you get up, and then it gets dark really early, especially in the
Hmm.
middle of winter. Um,
I don't
so it's
like how
probably
it gets dark so early.
yeah, and it's a lot worse here. I mean, I'm from New York, which is north, but it's northeast. So I guess it's a bit more like upper Canada or something here. It's yeah. So that's why I don't mind the fall time change because then you gain an hour at least in the morning. It's still like 7 o'clock. Will still be pitch black in the middle of winter. Um, yeah. Uh, it's really horrible when you like when I used to work in an office and you'd look out the window at say 4 o'clock and it was pitch black outside. And you're like, it feels like the middle of the night and I still have like an hour or two to go to leave work.
Let's see. Brenda saying, I love making wearables and amigurumis.
Oh, I lost you.
Can
I can't hear
you
you.
hear me? She should be back in just a second. This happened before we we went live. Can, can you hear me yet? Okay, I heard some noise on your side. I'm gonna read some comments until she comes back. But yeah, Brenda's really talented. Like with the stuff that she makes some of the cutest amigurumis, and the blankets are so beautiful. And Debbie says, I love making wearables and washcloths and baby blankets. Awesome. And Lauren says, I have way too much yarn. You're back now? Oops, I lost her. Hopefully, Michaela comes back. Okay, so Lauren says, I have way too much yarn hanging around that's being worked into blankets. It's driving me mad, but I get bored of working a single project. Yeah, and what's funny is I have so much yarn, especially like my like cakes and different color yarn that I just haven't gotten to making anything with because all the projects I've been working on seem to be like solid colors. Okay, Michaela's back. Okay, all right. I'll just continue with the comments. I don't know what's
Your
going
new
on her
headphones.
end. Okay, Christina says most Pacific countries
Read
don't.
the
Puerto
same.
Rico doesn't. A few states, many countries in Africa don't. Okay, so let's see. What do I have that I need to let y'all know about? I told y'all about Sophie. Um, on the 15th is when I'm going to be doing the finished objects video. So make sure y'all get y'all finished objects sent to me if y'all haven't already. And I would go into a question, but I don't know what's going on Michaela's end yet. So I'm kind of waiting for her. Let's see if she's back. Okay, Debbie Reynolds says she's still trying to learn how to knit. Oh, we lost Michaela again. Uh-oh. Let's see. Okay, I guess I'll go ahead and ask a question and we'll see what happens with Michaela. Um, so what is something people are always surprised to learn about you? For me, a lot of people are shocked to learn that I'm left-handed, but I crochet right-handed. So that's something about me. How about y'all? What is something people are surprised to learn about you? Let's see. But But Sophie's been a love bug since she's been back inside, and she loves her some Frank. She really loves Frank. The day she came back, the day that he found her, um, well, he had left, and then when he came back home, she was all meowing, 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 and so he goes and sits down, and she just goes plops on him and lays down on his chest and falls asleep. She was so happy. Let's see, Brenda's saying, I'm going to try knitting and doing color changing. Lauren's saying traitor. Let's see. Okay, are you back now, Michaela?
No, I still can't hear.
I can hear you. Okay, can you hear me?
Okay.
You can hear me now?
I did the test and it worked, but now I can't hear you.
Yeah, that's the one thing with going live. You know, you never know when the technical difficulties will happen. Hmm. And
Hello?
Brenda, I'm here.
Hello?
I'm here.
Hello?
Brenda's saying that I do all kinds of crafts, sewing, knitting, crochet, drawing, play guitar, and sing. Awesome. Yeah, Brenda's
So it says
talented.
everyone can see and hear me, but I can't hear anything.
I can hear you. Let me know if y'all can hear Michaela. And y'all and let me know too that y'all can hear me fine. I think it's just only Michaela that can't hear me. Oops, we lost Michaela again. Sorry we're having technical difficulties today, y'all. And hopefully we get it. Okay, Lauren says she can hear both of us. Yeah, hopefully we get it fixed soon. Okay, good, good, good. But we lost Michaela again. Let's see. Okay, Brenda says both are good here. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know what's happening. Like I said, hopefully we get Michaela back soon. So, Debbie, um, are you able to hear me, or is it that bad with the muffled low volume? So I'm kind of thinking I probably need to get a microphone, and I'm hoping that will help. I mean, my camera has a microphone built in, but I think I need like an extra mic.
I can hear you now.
Yay!
Oh my gosh. Well, luckily I have more headphones and a microphone. Hopefully you can hear me okay.
Yeah, it's just one of those days today, huh?
I know. Well, this is why you have to have like extra stuff because if you do Zoom calls or lives or whatever, everything breaks like right in the middle.
Okay, and Lisa's here. Hi, Lisa. How are you today? And what are you currently working on? Yeah, and I know it's like for some reason I always do find that I sound a little muffled on my lives. And yeah, I don't know really how to fix it. The only thing that I can think of is if I get another microphone, if maybe that will help, where it will make me sound louder.
Are you
But then
using the built-in mic or do you have a separate mic?
there's a mic built into my camera.
Yeah, I use a separate mic.
I'm probably gonna have to invest in another mic. So, Debbie, what type of microphone did you get? If you could send me the link to the one you got, yeah, send me an email. Well, I never put my email up
Six
there.
bucks. That's amazing.
I know. I haven't. I haven't
Mine was like a
seen.
hundred.
I haven't seen any that cheap on Amazon.
Yeah.
Like most of the ones I see, I think are around 30. But yeah, if you can send me the link to it, I would love that, Debbie, because I think that's what I need to do. And let's see, Fish is here. Hi, Fish. How are you doing today? And what are you currently working on? Okay, and Lisa says starting a new throw, doing laundry, and going to cook a roast today. Debbie says there's no name of it, which is weird. But if you could find the link on Amazon, like if you probably go in your purchase history, you should be able to find it. And if you could send me that link, it would be awesome. But I'm gonna try to search some more too to see if I can find one, hopefully that one. Okay. So while you were MIA, Michaela, I had asked the question, what is
Mm.
something people are always surprised to learn about you?
Oh, um, I don't know. I'm trying to think the last time someone was like, "Oh my gosh, really?" Sometimes it's my age. Do you want to guess how old I am?
Mm, I would probably say about 30.
Oh, no, you're just being kind. I mean, I kind of dropped hints on your video that obviously we're probably from around the same era. But yeah, I'm gonna be 50 in January. So people don't usually believe me.
I'm 46.
There you go. Other things. I don't know. I really I think sometimes over here people are not sure where I'm from. Like now, because I'm talking to an American, my accent is probably a little bit more Americanized. But when I speak to British people, I do adopt kind of Britishisms or way of saying certain words. Although sometimes my mother will call me and she'll go, "Oh, can I speak to Michaela?" And I'm like, "Mom." Like, who else do you think you're talking to? And she's like, "Oh, you sound so British." Um, yeah, so I do get weird things. Like sometimes people think I'm from Canada or Australia. They don't usually think I'm American. They never think I'm from New York. Um, that's all I can really think of, really.
Yeah, and whenever I had asked her while you were going, I was saying how the fact that I'm left-handed and I crochet right-handed.
Oh, wow.
People tend
That's
to be
pretty
shocked.
cool. Yeah, that is kind of shocking. I wouldn't expect that. So you must be ambidextrous then, but you prefer the left hand.
Kind of. It's one of those things that I usually have to figure out which hand works best to do what.
I wish I could do that, to be honest. I mean, it would make a lot of things easier. My husband's left handed. Um,
Which, I mean, typically, yeah, I'm left handed, but sometimes learning new things, sometimes it is easier to learn new things right handed, and
mm,
sometimes it's easier left handed.
yeah, that's
But,
pretty
like,
cool.
but it's like you live in a right handed world, so a lot of times you just adapt to right handed ways.
Yeah, I know that. I mean, now I think like we're kids, they're not as hard on them. I don't know how it was when you were a kid, but I know for like other family members that I have that are lefties, when they were children, they would try and make them use their right hand all the time for writing, especially, and whatever. And now I don't think they do that so much. They let kids just do it how they want to do it, which I think is good. And there's more, like, I remember, like, I used to try and scour for left-handed, like, cooking utensils and stuff for my husband, because he, like, he would really have trouble, like, peeling potatoes or just things like that. And now we have, like, a universal, so it's like anyone can do it because it just kind of shaves the potato.
I'm awkward with a knife. I cannot peel nothing. Like, I can't peel any type of, like, vegetable or fruit in my hand. It's
Yeah,
always
he's the
like
same.
cutting board. Chop, chop.
Yeah, he's the same. Yeah, but that's pretty cool that you can crochet right-handed if you're left-handed. That's kind of funny. It brought up something I've always wanted to talk to somebody about. Like, how sometimes you'll see left-handed videos, crochet videos.
Mm-hmm.
Like, at first I thought, oh, that's really cool. Somebody's, like, taking the time to do it left-handed for people who are not left-handed, because I know the person on that channel is right-handed, because they always do right-handed. And then I realized they're just going in their editing program and flipping the video. And I was like, I don't know if I should be angry at that, or like, I feel like you should at least say in the description, like, I don't know. It makes it seem like, in my mind, like you just went and made a left-handed video, but you didn't really. Sorry, my hair is annoying me.
But things are a lot better, like, like for in the crochet world for left-handers than what it was like years ago.
Yeah, I guess people at least take the time to do that now, to put up a video. But I don't know if you found this, like, do you ever crochet left-handed, or do you only crochet right?
Well, I tried to learn how to crochet like a few years before I learned how to knit. And like, I didn't understand, like, I couldn't really get crochet. And but at that point I did try to learn how to do it left-handed. But then whenever I went back, like a little over a year ago to learn, I was like, you know what, I want to try to do it right-handed, because I don't want to have to worry about reversing patterns and all this stuff. I want it to be just simple, cut and dry, where, okay, this is what I do. And then, like, I even, I had heard that some patterns you can't convert.
Really? See, I guess it really depends on the complication of the stitch and how it works across. Because I think, like, with a lot of stitches, like, especially if you're making something in the flat, as it were, even in the round, in most cases, you just need to go the opposite direction. So if the pattern is written for a right-handed person as a left-handed person, you should be able to just do the same pattern in the opposite direction, as long as it's a repeating stitch and it doesn't require lots of weird, I don't know, complex, like row to row kind of nonsense.
But I mean, I know they said that most patterns can be, but I did hear something that said that some can't. Like I said, I don't know. I never actually experienced it. But
yeah,
to me, I just thought it would be easier that if I just do it right-handed, I don't have to worry about anything.
Yeah. Well, it's cool that you can do that, because then you're not left out of patterns. Like, I've always felt, like, obviously it's not fair, because someone's left-handed, they can't do certain patterns, or like crochet or knit or something. Like, everyone should be able to do it.
But I know, like, in school, like, I think they usually have like 2 pairs of left-handed scissors, and I think there was like 3 of us in the class that were left-handed. So we were, we would always So I would always have to wait for the scissors, and it was frustrating because you couldn't do your schoolwork, because you're waiting. So I know one day I just got frustrated and I just grabbed the right-handed scissors. And yeah, at first it was awkward, but then I got used of it, and
Yeah.
like now I can't use left-handed scissors.
Oh, wow.
And the funny thing was that, well, like when my dad remarried my stepmom and all, like she was the type that felt like I was left-handed, I should use left-handed scissors. And I'm just like, why? I can use right-handed just fine. So like she bought me a pair of left-handed crafting scissors, and she would fuss me like when she would catch me using them with my right hand because I could no longer really, use scissors left-handed. Really, I had, I preferred right-handed at that point.
I've actually had to learn how to type and use a mouse left-handed because I hurt my shoulder last year, and so it's still frozen on my right side. So it's actually painful for me to use the computer. Um, so I had to buy a left-handed mouse, and like when I type everything left-handed. So it makes editing videos a lot of fun. I'm really slow at it, but I'm more used to it now because I've been doing it for a while. But yeah, it'd probably be easier in life if everybody was just ambidextrous, and then it wouldn't matter. And then there wouldn't be right or left-handed scissors. There would just be scissors.
Let's see, Joanne's here. Hi, Joanne. How are you doing today? And I think Brenda thought you were 35.
Oh, wow.
And she says
Thank
you
you.
look great for your age.
Thank you.
Lauren don't think you sound entirely British. Christina says that is called code switching. Lauren thinks you sound more Canadian.
Canadian. Yeah, I get that a lot here.
Teensy hears the New York in you. And hey, Teensy, how are you doing today? Brenda can hear the Bronx accent.
Oh, well, I'm not from the Bronx. Never lived in the Bronx. But sometimes for emphasis, I will push the accent out um, on purpose. Yeah.
And Lisa says, I just turned 58. Nobody believes me. I have great genes in my family.
Yeah. Yeah, I have great genes too. My mom is 81 this year. And like to look at her face, like she doesn't have any real wrinkles or anything. She's got a bit of a turkey neck, but the only thing that gives it away now is she stopped dyeing her hair, so it's all white. um, but yeah, like she definitely blessed me with some good genes. My dad too.
Let's see. Christina says, my son has special left-handed pens. He loves them. I never
Oh, cool.
heard of left-handed pens. Brenda's originally from New York.
Oh, hi, Brenda.
Yeah, I'm part of it. New York.
Yeah, so if people are curious about where I'm from in New York, so I was born in Manhattan uh, and lived there for many years. And then I lived in South Brooklyn for quite like my teenage, like, young adult teenage years. Um, and then I actually lived in Miami. I've lived in Chicago. Yeah, I lived in upstate New York. So my accent probably isn't as New York as some people. Like one of the reasons being my dad is from Manhattan. He's from a place that no longer exists. It's called Yorkville, and it's where like all the Irish and German immigrants lived. It's kind of up in like the northern part of Manhattan. It's kind of hard to describe if you don't know it, but it doesn't exist anymore as a neighborhood. It's all gone. But they have a particular accent that really doesn't exist anymore, except in people like him. But it's not what you're used to, like on TV and stuff for like real New Yorkers. Most of the time, the New York accent you hear is like Queens or Brooklyn, like really like deep. But a lot of people, like especially if they're from Manhattan, they don't sound like that. They sound a little bit more like me. My accent's a little bit all over the place. My mother was from Virginia. And obviously I live in Britain, so it's kind of changed over the years.
And let's see. Debbie says she found the link. She'll email it to me. Awesome.
Cool.
And Teensy says back in the day they made them write with right hand, left was sign of the devil. Yeah, I've heard that. And
Yeah.
I actually did a research paper in high school to do with like left-handed versus right-handed. So you kind of learn like a lot of interesting.
Yeah. Well, so my stepmother is also left-handed, and she grew up in the 50s, and they would try and like beat it out of her basically. But when she got older, she just kind of reverted and just writes with her left hand. I always thought it was really cool the way left-handed people write, like kind of over and.
Always get ink. Like
yeah, but I guess that's what the left-handed pens are about. So you don't, I don't know, get.
Because like you hold it and it's like your hand rubs over the ink.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh. And let's see, Joanna saying Lisa Onzo passed this morning, which I'm not sure who that
I don't
is,
know who that is.
but I am sorry to hear that happen. And let's see. Where am I? Oh, Mary's here. Hi, Mary and Nisi. How are y'all doing today? And what are y'all working on? Lauren says she can't cut paper left-handed, never have been able to. And actually, I can write right-handed. But I'll write something for y'all. See? I just wrote my name right. Ooh, I'm out of camera.
Yeah, like I could probably write my name left-handed if I really try. It's kind of funny. My handwriting is really deteriorated because I've been using computers like for 20 years, like exclusively, like at work, and obviously now you have your phone all the time. So when I actually try to write, it looks awful.
But like I'm slow writing with my right hand, and it's not as neat. But I mean, you can make out what I write though.
Yeah, I can't read my own writing even when it's right-handed. So it's terrible how like social media and computers and stuff have like ruined the art of just being able to like write nicely, like penmanship and stuff.
Let's see, Denine's here. Hi, Denine. How are you doing today? And Debbie says, I watch a lady that speaks Arabic, and I just watch her. Oops. Okay, there it goes. Nisi says, has anyone posted the panel guest linky? No, I'm not sure what that is. And Christina says, my son bowls and plays guitar left-handed, but plays tennis right-handed. I do bowl left-handed, I think, or what up? Yeah, I think it is left-handed. I haven't gone bowling in a long time.
Yeah, me either. I still love to bowl.
Yes, if y'all haven't checked out Michaela's channel, please go check her out. Throw some yarn in her window. Here's her link that Nisi posted. And let's see. Yeah, that's a yeah. TC says they say left-handed people are more artistic than right-handed. Yeah, that is one thing. Granted, I don't really find I'm really artistic. Um, I'm not good at drawing.
Yeah, like I'm creative. I wouldn't ever call myself artistic. I think I have a good aesthetic eye, but there's a difference between being able to appreciate something visually versus being able to recreate something that looks really good.
And let's see. Brenda says she's from upstate New York, born in Potsdam. I'm
Potsdam. Potsdam. I
probably
don't know if
saying it
that's how
right.
you say it, Brenda. That's how I say it, Potsdam.
Debbie says I'm in Missouri, born and raised. Stay here long enough. You call it misery. That reminds me, whenever I was stationed in Great Lakes, Illinois, they called it Great Mistakes.
Oh, we should. You know what? I want to get to that question you sent me
Okay.
because. So the first question I think you sent me was, "Were you ever into any boy bands?"
Hmm.
Um, and it just made me think, and I was like, actually, I was as a teenager in the '80s. I was very into Duran Duran. Even though I guess technically they're more like they're just a British pop group versus like a boy band. Um, but nowadays, even at my age, like I really love K-pop. So I listen to a lot of Korean groups, which half are male, half are female. So yeah. What about yourself?
Backstreet's back, all right. Backstreet Boys. That would be my favorite boy band. Now the irony is like, whenever I was a teenager, New Kids on the Block was really popular,
Mm,
and like everyone loved them, but
yeah.
I was never really into them. I'm like the oddball.
In my school, everybody was in junior high, everybody was into Menudo. I don't know if you know about them. They were like a big uh, Hispanic boy group, and all the girls at school were in love with them. And they would make it. I don't know if you remember, I don't know if you had it in your school, but like we had like a thing where you can make your own badges. You know, you take a picture and you put it over like a metal disc and you stamp it and it, makes a pin badge. All the girls, they had all the boys' faces like on their jackets and stuff. Yeah, you should. Yeah, Ricky Martin was in like one of the late. So Menudo is one of these groups where the members would age out and they would replace them. So it was never like the same. So for years, like there was different members, and he was like, I think in one of the. I don't know if they're still going. Actually, I have to look it up. But he was in one of the versions. Well, I wasn't. I personally wasn't into them. Like it wasn't my type of music. Like I said, I was into Duran Duran at that time. But yeah, everyone loved Menudo in my school.
Let's see. Brenda saying I can write left-handed. Had to for about 6 months from the hand surgery I had on my right
Oh
hand.
wow.
And Vicky's here. Hi, Vicky. How are you doing today? And let's see. Christina says I designed quite a bit. That is artistic. I mean, I guess you can call it that. But like, typically when I think of being artistic, it's like the people that like draw, paint, make art, that type of thing. That I cannot do. But and it's kind of funny, because I do have to do a little bit of kind of drawing, like making graphs for my patterns, and like so I guess I figured that out somehow. But it's like real, it's basic stuff. It's not like anything real fancy. And I tend to look at pictures to give me ideas. Kind of, okay, how do I go up, kind of how do I do this?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I get inspired by weird things, like in order to create something, like design a hat or even a scarf. It could be like sort of like regular high fashion kind of stuff, or it could just be like wanting to capture a certain color or like texture, like a like that type of pattern into something. I do see there's so many people like in crochet now, and especially on Instagram, and they design these really beautiful, amazing things. But I always feel like, God, it's so much work. I, I want results, because I know myself. Like I want things to happen quickly. So I tend to go for something that's a little bit like quirky, but more simple, and easy to replicate.
Where was I? I always lose my spot in the chat. Christina says Ricky Morton was in Menudo.
Yeah.
Shake your bonbon. Y'all remember that song by Ricky Morton? There's another song I like by him too. I can't think of it offhand.
Who remembers the soap opera he was on? Does anybody here remember?
Not offhand.
Because that's how I even knew who he was, because he was on a soap opera I used to watch.
Let's see. Debbie says Boys to Men, Backstreet Boys, and New Kids on the Block. Oh, Lisa wants to know about the biscuit. He's been kind of grumpy lately. No, he's saying not really. Yesterday he kind of was. His leg was hurting yesterday a lot. Still waiting to see what's going to happen with his surgery. Hopefully it happens.
For those who want to know my music taste, I'm all metal.
Oh, and Frank wants y'all to know his music taste is all metal.
Yeah, that's my husband likes mostly metal and like kind of quirky indie rock, like older stuff.
Oh, Michaela, would you mind like taking over for just a minute?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be back in like a couple of minutes. I'm sorry,
Okay.
y'all.
No, good. Yeah, so everybody said General Hospital. Yay. But yeah, I used to be a General Hospital fanatic. Used to watch it every day. Don't ask me why. But yeah. Right. So what should we talk about, guys? I don't know what to talk about now. Suddenly, I'm like, I don't have anything to say. I was saying to Connie before we started, I was like, oh, don't worry about me. I'm a chatter. I can just start chatting about anything. And now I have nothing to say. She sent me a list of questions. I guess I could go through that. So let's go. So we did the boy band question. So then she asked, does social media make you feel better or worse about yourself? Yeah, it's one that I struggled with. I wouldn't say it makes me feel bad about myself. Like I try not to let other people's lives on social media make me feel bad about my own. I know that it can, like if you spend a lot of time looking at what other people's lives look like and make you feel like you don't have a life. But So I was just asking the question, does social media make you feel better or worse about yourself? And I was answering, for me, like it more so did when I started my business, because I saw like other people posting like all the time and all this content. And, there's kind of like all these guides that tell you like you have to post like 2-3 times a day. And I was like, I can't do that. Like, how am I supposed to do crochet if I'm posting on Instagram all day? Like, you don't understand how crochet works. Like, and then I see lots of other people who also have like a small crochet business posting constantly and posting new stuff or products, and that depresses me. Like, that will make me get into a kind of depression on that level. Like, I just feel like I'm not productive enough, and I kind of have what I've done is I kind of stepped back a bit and said, okay, I can't be that person. I can't post 10 times a day. I don't have that much content to post. And what's happening is it's taking away from my ability to make stuff, whether that's for my YouTube channel or for my shop or just for myself. So I have to say, okay, I have to understand what my limits are, and be happy with that. And it might mean that I don't grow as quickly as some other people have, but like I can't indulge in the jealousy of that, like I have to live my life. So I have to produce what I'm happy producing and am proud of. And if that means I only post like a couple times a week, then that's what it is. And I actually read some other articles posted by like, I don't know, influencer people who've said, it's kind of a myth that you need to be posting that much. And I think it really, it depends on your business and what you're trying to do and achieve. And instead of like drowning the world in posts about the same item over and over again, because I see people who do that and it gets tedious and you're like, oh, like I like this person, but I kind of want to unfollow them because I'm tired of seeing that same post over and over and over again constantly. Like I don't want people to feel that way about me. So I just want to post content that I'm happy to share and I'm proud of, and try not to get wrapped up in what other people are doing, which I think that can happen quite easily. Like if you see other people getting ahead of you, I don't know. How do you feel about it?
I find like social media can be good in the fact that it helps connect you to people. So that could be
Yeah.
awesome, and it's a way to keep in touch, keep up with, friends, family, etc., etc. But the downfall to social media, it can invite bullying, which is never okay. And like sometimes you start comparing your life to others based on what you're seeing on social media. But you got to kind of remember people aren't telling you everything on social
Mm-hmm.
media. Case in point, the Gabby Petito case recently.
Yeah.
She was starting a YouTube channel, and that video that she posted, it made her and her boyfriend look like they were so much in love. But look at what happened to her.
Yeah.
I mean, we still don't know for sure that he definitely did it, but it looks that way, you know.
Yeah.
And like, well, and this is something that even goes to show you how people will do that, which has nothing to do with social media. I had a coworker that, and this was before, I met Frank. And, her and her husband, I always thought they were so happy together, such a wonderful relationship. And I was kind of envious. I was like, oh, I wish I would meet someone like that. And then something happened in their relationship, and and then, of course, they split up and all and got divorced. But it's funny how all these things she started revealing about their relationship, where their relationship was not that great. You know, it's like it's the stuff that people don't tell you that's going on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So you can't really compare yourself to what others post and stuff online.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been like that since the beginning of social media, to be honest. Like, I mean, I remember going back even before like MySpace. Um, it was quite easy to get wrapped up in people who seemed to be living perfect lives. Like they could buy whatever they want, they could go wherever they want, they lived in a nice
Hmm.
house, or whatever. But yeah, I mean, the truth is often very different. Like, because even if they have all those things, they're only showing you the nice part of it. They're not showing you
Hmm.
all the stuff they have to deal with to keep that nice house, or like, you know, um,
You never know what goes on behind closed
yeah,
doors.
yeah, exactly. Oh,
Oh,
there's
hey,
Timmy. It's Timmy. Oh,
Timmy.
sorry, I've gone the wrong way.
Hi, Timmy.
Wait, I can't figure it out. It's like the opposite. Wait, I've gone the wrong way. There we go. There he is.
Oh, hello.
Timmy. Saying, Mama, why are you talking to this lady and not me? He's
You
been
know that's
waiting
a good reason.
patiently, like across the room since we started. He's not used to, he's used to like sitting on my lap like all day long. So he's just going to sit there and judge us now. um,
We have Ariel here. Hi, Ariel. How are you doing today?
so
No.
somebody in the chat said they subscribed to me. So thank you very much. I
Awesome.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Yes. Throw some yarn in Michaela's window.
Yeah. Please, like really hard. Just come and throw it at my house. I'll take it.
But yeah, like how y'all were talking about General Hospital. I never got that big into General Hospital.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
I was a CBS soap opera.
I watched a bunch when I was like, when I was actually in junior high. I watched a lot more soap operas. So I watched General Hospital. I watched Loving. Um, what else did I watch? Days of Our Lives. I watched like all the big ones at the time.
I watched Days of Our Lives for for a little while, but like my main ones was well, Guiding Light was usually the one that was
Oh
like
yeah, Guiding
really
Light.
um, and then like The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the
Oh
Beautiful,
yeah, Young and Restless. I never really watched Bold and Beautiful, but I watched Young and the Restless.
and As the World Turns some. But
Yeah,
that was kind of my
occasionally.
least favorite out of the CBS ones.
There were some, like I remember at the time, like thinking, oh, they don't have enough dramatic storylines. Like there's not enough like crazy relationships, or like who's the father, or um yeah, strange deaths and reappearances, or so like I was totally into the shows that had like good drama going on.
And it's funny, there used to be so many soap operas, and now there's what like three or four left now, I think.
Mm. I don't even know. Like, I stopped watching soap operas in the early 90s. So,
Your volume's going.
oh, sorry. Can
Okay,
you hear
you're
me?
good. You're good. You're good now.
I just had to move the mic. um, yeah, like I stopped watching them in the early 90s. So I don't even know what's out there anymore. In the UK, when I first moved here and I didn't have a job, I'd watch a lot of daytime TV over here, and they have a few soap operas. There's one called Doctors, which is just about not doctors in a hospital like General Hospital. It's just like a doctor's office. And there's one from Australia called Neighbors, which is quite famous, but they show it over here.
But I think now it's just The Young and the Restless, The Bold and the Beautiful, General Hospital, and I think Days of Our Lives. I think those are the only ones left.
Yeah, it's amazing how long some of those shows have been going, though, from like the 60s.
And let's see, Nisi has a question. What is your favorite yarn to use?
Well, I used to always say it was Karen Simply Soft, and I would say that's definitely like up on my list of favorite yarns in general. I do have a preference for Aran, like worsted weight 4 yarn. Like I prefer that weight of yarn for most things, although I do also use DK, which is light 3, for a lot of like cardigans and stuff. In terms of like a brand, I actually really love some of the British brands that we have, and I try to focus on them in my channel just because they don't get enough love on YouTube, because so many content videos are more about or from the US and about US brands. And for a long time, it was harder for us to get things from like Karen, Red Heart even. It's a little bit easier now, but we don't get all the lines. We get like some things. So like when it comes to like, say, Karen yarn cakes, like we get them way after they've been out in the States. Like, and some of them, because they're exclusive to Michael's, we don't even get them. So I only get to see them when people unbox them on YouTube. But I think like one of my favorite brands over here is King Cole. I just did a King Cole unboxing video like a little while ago. The other brand that I use is Stylecraft. And these are kind of like the major, like you can find everywhere brands. I don't know if you can hear, but there are fireworks going off. So it was bonfire night on the 5th, which is like a celebratory kind of day here. And they do fireworks. And whenever it's near bonfire night, they do fireworks before. So usually starting from Halloween, and then they do fireworks for like a week or two after, sometimes all the way to Christmas, depending. So just Timmy was like, I do not like that, the fireworks. Yeah, anyway, so I wouldn't say like I have a, like, it really depends on the project, but there's so many great yarns out there now. Like, it's hard to just say, oh, like I love this one exclusively and I use it as much as possible. I don't know if you feel the same way.
Yeah, it's hard to pick one because I mean, like, now number four worsted is my favorite. Like, you know, worsted. I mean, size to use. I'm getting tongue tied. I like a lot of Lion Brands yarns. Sweet Rose is one of my favorites. I like the Mary Maxim Prism yarn. And usually, like, pretty much any type of cake type yarn. I love cakes. I love sparkly yarn. Christmas yarn.
Yeah. Anything with sparkles, I love a good sparkle.
But yeah, there's a lot of favorites. And Debbie wants to know, what are you working on right now?
So like I said earlier, I finished a scarf tutorial on my channel. So now what I'm doing is I'm making scarves for my shop. And that's probably going to be my concentration for the next little bit. I do have some hat tutorials I'm going to do, just like easy beanies and that kind of thing for winter. Yeah, so right now I'm trying to focus on stuff for my shop and my channel versus like just doing stuff, like making stuff that I want to make. It's a bit mercenary, but yeah, this is why. Like, I just kind of need to ramp up my business now. I need it to start earning some money because I don't have a full time. Like, I don't have a job. So, yeah.
For me, today I'm working on my peppermint blanket, and then I also have my temperature blanket that I work on. Then I have a blanket that I'm crocheting that I'm designing that's on pause until I finish my peppermint blanket. Then I'll go to that blanket and finish it. Because I want the peppermint blanket finished by Christmas, hopefully.
Is it the one with the swirled red and white, and you make it as like individual, like not
Peppermint.
squares, but yeah, squares. I've seen that blanket and I've always wanted to make it, but yeah, I'm impressed with you because every time I think I'm gonna do that blanket, I'm just like, oh, now it's gonna take me 6 months.
And like the pattern for that one's by Mikey with Crochet Crowd.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's kind of like, oh, I hope I get this thing finished. But I'm over there going, I think there's like about 40 of the large motifs that you have to make. And like, there's like, I think like four or five different edgings for those. Then you got like 30 something of the small motifs. And I'm like, I've only gotten, well, I'm almost finished with the 13th large motif. So I got a long way. Then you got to sew it together.
Yeah, that's also the hard part, right? Is the sewing it all together.
But even if I don't get it finished for Christmas, I'll just keep it going until I get it done.
Mm.
And then with knitting, well, tomorrow's my day to do my knitting project, which I'll be knitting a basic beanie for my neighbor. He asked me if I could knit him one. And then I'll start working on designing a new beanie, a gobble gobble one. So that's what's on my agenda.
Mm. Oh yeah, I wanted to say thank you for sending me the link to your pumpkin one. That is something I do want to make, but yeah, I'm probably not going to make it in time for even Thanksgiving. So
yeah,
it's on my list.
That's a bad thing because like some of the patterns that I'm going to be having released soon aren't going to be released in time for like some of the holidays. Because like the next one that will be released is the candy corn beanie, and Halloween's over with.
Yeah.
But it'll be there for those that want it for next year.
Yeah.
For the year after.
Well, that's what you're ahead for 2022. So yeah.
And then part of me is kind of like maybe I should work on getting the Christmas ones released first, so that way I know they're ready for Christmas, and just kind of hold off on the rest of the Halloween until, I don't know. I haven't decided how I'll completely do it yet.
Do you use testers for all your patterns?
Yes.
That you release, you do.
I try to get 4 testers, but I run with at least 3. Because sometimes I can't always get that 4th tester.
Yeah.
But
like I've used testers for 2 of my patterns, which are commercially available. But I've been thinking about it for like the sweaters and cardigans. But because they're all kind of winter things, I'm like, it's a bit like trying to make, because I've been a tester, and so trying to rush someone to do something, say even in a month, which seems like a lot of time, but we all been there. We're like, oh, I've got a month to make this. And then it's like the weekend before it's due and you're like, oh, and it's like a large garment, which I need to stay up all night making now. So I kind of don't want to put that kind of pressure on people, but at the same time I do see the value in testers, because as a pattern writer it helps you understand like where it is, like you may understand exactly what you've written but somebody else may struggle with it, especially like people at different levels of ability.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's really good to have pattern testers from like different crochet levels, to see how advanced or basic your pattern really is. And if you've really written your instructions in a way that kind of universally most people would be able to understand. But
Because
yeah.
I know I was told that you really should have testers.
Mm.
So that's where I go with testers. Let's see. We have Granny D here, Chris. Let's see who else joined us. Um, let's see. Ivy. And is that everybody? Oh, Mimi. I thought I saw someone else. I think that's everyone. Yeah, it looks like that's everyone. And if I missed anyone, I'm sorry. But how are y'all doing today?
Huh?
And what are you currently working
Hi.
on? Yeah, and if I did miss someone, I may catch y'all as I'm going down the comments again. Let's see. Lisa wants to know how long have you been crocheting?
Probably not as long as you. I actually only started crocheting, I'm gonna say about 7 years ago. I I taught myself how to crochet because I wanted to make something for somebody. Actually, this is a story. Okay, so I met someone online who had like their own little crochet business. I'm not going to say who their name, but I ordered something for a friend, and the person got it, and it was like not that great. So I was kind of like, oh, just another case. I got to do it myself. So I went and I learned how to crochet and taught myself how to do it and made the thing and sent it to the person. Um, yeah, and that's pretty much why I started crochet. And then I just instantly was like, oh my God. My mom tried to teach me how to crochet when I was like 12. Um, and I don't know why I just didn't stay with it. I remember her buying me yarn and a hook and teaching me to make a chain. And I would sit in school and just chain yarn like all day long. And then I just kind of, I mean, it's like a lot of things. Like I'm one of those people, like I always like, I get interested in something and then something else will come along and I just drop it. And so, but once I picked it up as an adult, I definitely fell in love with it and was like, oh, I could really like make stuff. And I started just making random things for random people in my life, as gifts and or just because. And then I decided to learn how to knit. So a few years later, I taught myself like basic knitting, so I can do basic stitches in knitting. I actually prefer crochet to knitting, but yeah. So not as long as some people, but yeah. How
I
about
was
yourself?
la- I was laughing because I've only been knitting like one. I think it's been 1 year
Oh
and
wow.
about 1.5 months. So you were all yeah. It was like
Yeah, I just thought you'd been doing it for years. I just always assume everyone else is like ahead of me, like been doing things for years and years and are experts, and I'm like the newcomer, the interloper.
and knitting. It's been like 2.5 years.
Wow. But that's pretty cool. That what just made you decide to get into it?
Basically, like I wanted to learn how to make like beanies and shawls.
Mm.
And the shawls, a lot of times it was basically because I got cold easily. Uh, and and like I had gotten like this shawl from like a thrift store or a yard sale, and like people kept asking me if I made it, and it was like, so it kind of made me determine that I'm gonna learn how to do this stuff. So I started off like, because I had tried to learn how to crochet a few years before that, and I flopped. So first I learned loom knitting, and I
Oh,
think
wow.
I did that. I think about a year. Then I started playing with, learning to knit, and then I decided to try crochet again, and this time I got it.
Mm.
Um, but like I had gotten craftsy and did that like promotional offer they had, and it was Selena Bacchus lessons on there, and hers are so thorough. So like it was real easy to learn from her.
Pretty cool.
But, but the one thing that like scared me with craftsy, like you can't cancel it online.
Oh,
Like
really?
when your year's up. And like if you don't cancel, it's like I think like 80 something dollars for the next year.
A lot of things are like that. They try to be tricksy, you know? Like, they're like, oh, just sign up for a free trial and cancel whenever you want. And then you can't. You have to like call them up, or
Yes,
yeah,
they
it's
make you
like, and
call.
yeah. Or they put you through this like online loop where there's no way to contact them. Like, it's really hard to figure out how to cancel. Like, I've had things where I've had to Google, how do I cancel this?
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not, you can't find it like on their website.
Mm-hmm. So it was like, so I called them and I'm like, okay, am I going to get an email, like basically verifying that I'm canceling? And they're like, well, we don't send emails. And I'm just like, So I was like, I was nervous and I'm like, they better not. I'm like, and what if I get charged? And they're like, well, you'll just have to, contact and stop the payment and all this. And I'm like, yeah, you get charged for doing that. But
Yeah,
luckily they did cancel. So,
good.
but
But
it's
that's
like,
why you should be ready. Don't be afraid. Just go to the Better Business Bureau immediately. If something like that happens, just report them immediately.
but yeah, I was just like, but luckily they actually did cancel it because I know
Yeah.
sometimes people have problems with sites like that.
I had that problem with LinkedIn. So I did like LinkedIn Premium a few years ago. Um, and like I canceled it on their website. It was one of those things where it was like hard to do. And it confirmed, like it said, they didn't send an email, but it was like, you were canceled, blah, blah, blah. And then I got charged the next month. And I had to go through this whole like process to get the money back. Cause I even had a screenshot of like when I canceled it. But yeah, that was not fun.
But yeah, and it's like, and when it comes to craftsy, like even if I had like another promo offer, I don't think I would do it again because I didn't like this, how they did with canceling.
Yeah.
It just that made me too nervous
It
because
should
at
be
least,
easy to cancel something. If a site or a business is like wants to be legit and transparent, then canceling for them has to be easy and upfront. And that's why now, like when before I sign up to something, I look at the cancellation policy and where it is, like how to cancel before I sign up to things. Because I've
yeah.
been burned.
And that's where like because at least like usually online you have some form of proof
Mm,
that you canceled because
yeah.
a lot of them will send you an email saying it, or you could at least take a screenshot. But
Yeah.
like on the phone, where's your proof?
Yeah, exactly. Unless you record it.
Okay, and Lisa wants to know how did you end up in England?
I married a British guy. Um, so years and years and years ago. In fact, how many years has it been now? 24 years ago, I met a British guy. He was actually in America at the time. And then we were kind of pen pals because he didn't have a computer when he went back to England. So we wrote letters, we used to talk on the phone, and then it just kind of blossomed over the years. And we dated for about 5 years, long distance. And then we got married, and I moved here.
So I'm trying to kind of skim the comments.
That's all right.
Trying to get things wrapped up. Let's see. I'm especially trying to see if anyone else asked any questions.
So Brenda said she was also trying to do her peppermint blanket.
Yeah, I'm like going, yeah, everyone's gonna start their blankets after me and get theirs finished before. I'm not the fastest crocheter.
Yeah. I'm actually slower now because of my shoulder, so it makes it harder. In fact, when I first had the injury, it was really painful. So I didn't crochet for months. And then like now it's better, but like I do have to take frequent breaks. So yeah. It takes me long to make even like small things.
Yeah, and Samantha's asking who's next to you on the screen. Now, if you're asking about my guest star, that's Michaela with Mx Crochet. And then she has her cat, Timmy, on the side of her.
He's waiting patiently for his dinner and his lap. In fact, I'm probably going to have to go soon because our landlord's coming over in about 20 minutes. And my husband's probably starving because he came home like 2 hours ago.
Yeah, that seems like it's the last question that everyone asked in the chat. So I guess we'll go ahead and start wrapping things up now. Usually I go, I've been going for an hour and a half, and we're at an hour and 37 minutes. We've been chatting today.
Yeah. Well, we also did have some technical problems.
Yeah.
So that adds to it.
So is there anything you'd like to say before we say our goodbyes?
No, thank you for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity. It's been fun getting to know you and saying hello to everyone in the chat. And yeah, I've had a really great time.
Awesome. And I enjoyed having you and Timmy.
Thank you. No.
So, hi, Teresa. How are you doing today? We're wrapping things up, but I'm glad you popped in. But yeah, like I said, the 15th, my mind just went blank. Okay. My nerves got to me, I think. Okay, on November 15th, I'll be doing my finished projects video. So if you have any finished projects, and it could be crochet, it can be knitting, it could be loom knitting, because y'all know I do crochet and knitting both. But yeah, get y'all pictures in. Y'all can either email them to me or send them to me on my Facebook group, and I'll be doing the video the 15th. And oh yeah, for those that didn't hear me earlier, Sophie is now back safely inside the house. I don't think she was happy about it initially.
She was like, freedom!
It was like she was like wild when she first came back in.
Yeah.
And then she started sitting by me. Then like Frank comes back in and she's all meowing for Frank. Then she goes plops on his chest and falls asleep. She loves her some Frank. She really does. I mean, she loves me too. Yesterday she spent the day with me, but
nice. Yeah.
But she just has these little sweet times with Frank, and Yeah, and she does it with Frank way more often than Allie. Allie's not as big of a love bug.
Mm.
You gotta wait for her loving moments. But yeah, I think that's all I have. So I hope everyone has a fabulous Uni day. And thank y'all all for watching today and those that will be watching on replay. Be the light and bye.